Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Shadows Roundtable. I'm your moderator today, Danielle Burgess. I'm so thrilled to be here today with the amazing writer-director Anthony Laura and our really wonderfully talented cast. Shadows the Play opens December 1st, 2023, and is running until December 16th at the ART New York Theaters and the Jeffrey and Paula Theater. Tickets are available at shadowstheplay.com. I want to start off by saying that I just absolutely love this play. I've read it a few times through now, and it's just really stunning. It's very moving and affecting. I've laughed and cried and everything in between, and I'm so excited to see how you guys bring it to life. I'd love to start off our roundtable today by going around everyone introducing themselves, saying who they're playing, and maybe just a little something about yourself. Let's start with you, Anthony.
Hi, I'm Anthony. I'm the playwright and director. I just want to thank Danielle for doing. I've known her for a while, and just so excited.
Great. It's been, I guess, 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not to date us, but yeah.
No.
Katia.
Hello, I'm Katia Mendoza. I'm playing Lindsay L. Cooper, and I'm also serving as a producer on this project. I'm just so excited to be here. Thank you.
Amazing. Sorry, I said Katia and it's Katia. My bad. Katia.
Oh my gosh, it's a very small difference. Thank you.
Annie Grace.
Yeah. Hi, I am Annie Grace Payne. I am playing Kinsley Lennon Coleman. And yeah, stoked to be here.
Awesome. I was thinking about the fact today that Kinsley and Lindsay sound really similar. I was like, I bet he did that on purpose. Yeah. Annetta.
Yes, hi. I'm Annetta Burning, and I'm playing Ariana, and I'm also acting as associate producer in this play. And yeah, really happy to be here.
Great. Mary.
Hi, I'm Mary Blake, and I'm playing Tatum. Super happy to be here as well.
Alexandra.
Hi, I'm Alexandra Rooney, and I play Jessa, and I'm happy to be here too.
And last but not least, Susan.
Hi, I'm Susan Newfer, and I'm playing Stella Anders. And I am really enjoying working on this play, and I'm thrilled to be here today.
Awesome. Everyone is excited today. I know we were like mid-rehearsal, so we've got a good energy to start this roundtable on.
Indeed.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start our round of questions. Anthony, you're up first.
Lovely.
So I'm curious because the version of the script that I read, I'm pretty sure there was no rehearsal happening at that point. So I'm curious how the script might have changed or might not have changed as the rehearsal process has started. Have things been shifting as you're working with the actors? Talk to me about what that process has been like.
Yeah, so there are some small things we're changing here and there. Some lines that, wind up, we don't need, we're cutting. But I would say overall, it's mostly the same. I would say we did have some scene additions kind of right after table work. Just focusing in a little more on Lindsay's diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
But, a lot of, I think what we're finding in the room is just information that's not needed, that can just be said with a glance or behavior.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And correct me if I'm wrong, but this was workshopped previously, correct? Okay.
Yeah, we workshopped it in April.
Okay.
And 2 readings.
And how much did that workshop inform the development of the characters?
Yeah, I mean, significantly.
Yeah.
It was a very, very different show. It was Tatum had a different job.
Okay.
And Stella wasn't in the play.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And though we were feeling the relationship between Lindsay and Kensley, what I felt at the end of the workshop was that their diseases were taking precedent over the love.
Mm,
So that's what I changed kind of going into this draft of the show.
great. And the cast was some of the same people
Yes.
for the, okay. Who was
So
in the workshop?
Alexandra played Jessa and Mary played Tatum.
Okay.
Katya played Ariana.
Okay.
And then, yeah, and then we had different actors for the other roles. Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Okay, great. So something that I noticed a lot is the reference to the color green in various ways. Whether it's like a complete reference or a Kermit reference or something like that. So what does the color green mean here, if you can share that?
Yeah, so the color green is something that's kind of been throughout my work, and it's a color that's always just kind of brought me peace from even just childhood. So working it into Kensley and Lindsay's story, I mean, first of all, I think a lot of what we think about with green is just grounding with the earth and trees. And so finding a way to bring a color to always ground that relationship, especially with what they're going through.
And knowing you and having worked with you, I know that wardrobe factors a lot with color. Are we going to be seeing green in the wardrobe as well?
You will, yeah.
Okay. I actually wore green and I didn't even think about it, but I did. Perfect. Okay, thank you, Anthony.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'd love to open it up to our wonderful actors. This is for everyone. You can I can either direct you who's going to answer, or you can decide for yourselves, but I'm so curious what drew you all to this project and to the material, and how you have found you yourself as people changed by the experience so far. And we can go ahead and open it up. Katya, if you want to start us off.
Absolutely. Yeah, so what initially drew me, and the first draft I read was like a completely different story, like altogether. There was like murder mystery there. But in the workshop draft, what really drew me was the relationships, specifically the relationship between Lindsay and Ariana. I don't think I've ever seen so much, just like a sisterly bond so present, as well as just all forms of relationships, female friendships, a romantic relationship, familial, all of them were just really taken center stage there. And I thought that was really beautiful, especially with an all-female cast.
Yeah, that's something I noticed, that there's sisterhood throughout, whether it's actual blood sisters or different relationships, but there's sort of this feeling of sisterhood in all of the relationships, which is really beautiful. And how have you found yourself changed by working on the material so far?
Yeah, with Lindsay's journey, it's actually really funny. I was having a conversation with the amazing Rihanna, who is understudying Lindsay, and we were talking about how a lot of it that Lindsay is dealing with is a lot of expectations that were placed on her, and just how she kind of navigates that, and realizing, finding different passions and realizing what she really wants out of this life. And I think everyone at some point kind of goes through that. And as I'm going on that journey with Lindsay, I kind of find myself almost paralleling her as well. And I think it was the play and just the material that really sparked that too. So yeah, just kind of finding what it is that really, really matters to you. And
yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, I think that's so true, that we can't be unaffected by the roles we're playing. It connects to some part of you and changes some part of you. So that's beautiful. Whoever would like to go next. Go ahead, Annetta.
Yeah, I guess, so what drew me in first and foremost is, I mean, from my own personal life, both of my grandparents had Alzheimer's. So and also I have a sister. So those were two things that I immediately connected with. And especially with the sister bond related to, and then not to spoil too much, but when, Ariana turns into the caregiver of her sister, for her Alzheimer's, it kind of brought me back to, going back to when my grandparents were first diagnosed, and it kind of also reawakened memories for me, and also helps me in turn, like it's kind of like therapy in a way, where you also can process your own grief and your feelings through another character. So there are all these dimensions to it too, and yeah, I guess you can say acting is therapy, but yeah, it's definitely a tool that I am with this play trying to use also for my own self. And yeah,
I love that. You can kind of repurpose, for lack of a better word, but kind of repurpose your pain into creating something. So that can be helpful. And I guess you kind of answered it, but is there anything that you feel like you've personally been changed by working on
I think it's
material?
Yeah, I think it's made me become aware of certain things in my own life, and the relationships in my life, and which ones I want to nurture and which ones I want to stay away from. So yeah, it does pose the question to my own life, I guess.
That's interesting. Cool. Thank you. Susan, what about you?
Well, I really like what drew me to I really love the writing, and I like the story. I'm a fairly small part in the story, but I just enjoy watching the other scenes so much. I also had experience in my life. My mother-in-law had dementia, and so my husband was a primary caregiver for her, and it was really, really hard. And of course, he's my primary line reader, so it's kind of, so we have a lot of discussions.
Wow. Yeah.
While we're going through the scenes. Yeah. No, the experience has been great. I just came off doing another play, and this other play had a lot more anger in it. There was a lot of grief and loss, but there's so much more. I feel like there's so much more love expressed in in different ways. And so it's a different experience for me. I feel much more calm working on this play.
That's helpful. That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Alexandra, what about you?
What initially drew me to this play was that I really like the idea of how it brings up love a lot, and as they said, like relationships. And I really relate to my character, like how she's kind of like sassy and she's like a pop star, and I love to sing, so I was enjoying that I get to sing a lot in the play.
Yeah.
And also that it like tells a story about early onset dementia, which is like something I didn't really know about before. So it changed me more because I learned more about it. Like I never really knew that it could happen so early on.
Great. Thank you.
No problem.
Mary.
Yeah, I mean, a few things. First of all, kind of what Katya was saying about, relationships, and especially relationships between women. I love women. We all have so many stories to tell, and it's great that we're getting to do that here. And second of all, Tatum is, comedic relief a lot of the time, and I don't always get the chance to work on comedy. So I was excited when I first read the sides and was auditioning, and I was like, this is fun. There's a good rhythm here. So I was immediately excited by that.
Yeah, those scenes where she pops in it's like a little breathing room.
Definitely.
And have you found that you've been changed by the experience so far of working on the material?
Sure. I mean, I think purely from an acting standpoint, even, it's been really great because I was working on the workshop too, and we've had a really long time to work on this and to think about the characters and stuff, and that's not an opportunity that I get very often or even at all. So I think it's helping with my acting to just have the time to marinate in the character and the circumstances and to figure things out along the way.
Yeah, Absolutely. Yeah, that's an amazing thing about how Anthony works, that he really finds the space and time to be able to work on things for so long. It really makes such a difference.
Yeah.
Annie Grace?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's kind of hit what I was going to say, so I'll just copy and paste it all, you know. I think speaking of, Katya and Mary hit on the relationships, and I just love how love shows up in each and every one of them, whether it's romantic or through family or friendship, or even, as Lindsay and some other characters are really trying to figure out their identity and what resonates with them and what they really want out of life. And I also think it's really cool. I think you're really almost like forced to reflect on your own life with this play. I don't really think, you can like be a part of it without taking it into your life. And I think it's cool that I think, at least for me, when I first read it, I could see bits of myself in every one of these characters. And I think it's going to be a really cool piece for audiences to get to reflect on and see themselves in a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. You answered that beautifully. Is there anything else that you want to add about how it's changed you?
Yeah, I mean, I think, especially working with Kensley, which is going to sound very cheesy, but I stand by it. It's really helped me to like stop and smell the roses. I think it's very easy to get caught up in like, go, 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 go. I need to do this and this. And it's kind of helped me to slow down and just take stuff in, even small things. And yeah, it's been
Absolutely. Yeah, that's not cheesy. That's like what life is about. So that's amazing. Okay, great. Thanks so much, everyone. I'm gonna go ahead and open this question up to Katya and Annie Grace. It's about Lindsay and Kinsley. And you can answer together or separately, but what is your favorite part about the relationship between them? It's such a beautiful relationship. There's a lot to choose from, but what stands out to you the most?
Say for me, just kind of something that's just always been there that I've really adored is how they complement each other in such a funny way. It's very much, and this is really a watered down way to say it. There's so much more depth, but just basic line. It's very much like black cat, golden retriever kind of energy. And, and I love that they're not forcing each other to change their ways. It's just something that kind of, when you are with someone for so long and you love them so much, you kind of just naturally start to take on some of their ways of thinking or just little ticks and stuff. So I think just how they affect each other is something that's really beautiful to see.
I love that. Black cat, golden retriever energy. Sounds good.
Yeah, to backpack off of that. Backpack? That's a phrase, right? Anyway.
It works. Yeah.
I agree. I think they're very opposite in a lot of ways, but they also complement each other. And I just think they both just see each other so unconditionally and are so just loving and accepting of where each other is at in their own life. And they just want the best for each other. And yeah, there's just so much unconditional love there. And it's just really beautiful to see.
Absolutely. Started to make me tear up. That's good. So another relationship within the story that's really beautiful and complex as well between Ariana and her sister, Lindsay. So with a lot of family dynamics, there's a lot that's unsaid between them. And I think that creates a lot of the tension, for better or for worse. But what do both of you think is like the one thing that they need to say to each other the most? What would be the thing that they could communicate that would make the most impact?
I saw Katja reaching for the mic and I was like, oh. I think, this play is about love. And I think the two sisters, I think they just don't celebrate the love between each other enough, number one. And I think there's just a lot of trauma that they've been through, and they just think that they can get through it on their own. They don't need help. And I think they just need to get more comfortable with asking each other for help and like experience going through trauma together, healing together. And I think they're scared of that. I think because it's unknown territory, right? And I think they have just like never experienced that kind of relationship before. And I don't think they understand how a relationship can grow and how their bond can become stronger through that. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, heavy on the needing to learn to ask each other for help. I think that's such a huge thing that I think everyone kind of really struggles with, more so with these sisters, because, the thing with siblings is, you grow up together, you share so much of the same experiences and memories. And like Anetta said, there's so much trauma there that they're taking out on each other, but they're not dealing with it together. And I think also a big thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, Anetta and Anthony, please, but I don't know if Lindsay has ever expressed her gratitude towards Ariana, like with a thank you, because I think that that's something really, really big that I think Lindsay obviously feels, but I don't know if it's expressed as much, which is with everything Ariana is doing for her, both with her career and in their personal life. She might have slipped in a thank you somewhere there, or just like a little something. But yeah, I think that's something big, just to acknowledge each other and be like, you're doing a good job. I see you.
Sometimes that's the hardest. The people the closest to us are the hardest to acknowledge. Yeah, for sure. Speaking of their family and their trauma, I think it's interesting that Carmela is not technically a character in the story, but she looms so large. I'd love to hear from Susan, Katya, Anetta, for your characters, what is the impact that she has on your characters?
Well,
Susan?
Well, we were in rehearsal, and right prior to the scene we were rehearsing was the scene where Jessa's over there, and Jessa says to Lindsay, "His sisters make good friends," and it's I guess that's a part, it's a theme in the play, and I don't think I think that Carmela and Stella were on terrible terms by the time Carmela passed away, and it really, and the dynamics with the girls, that they didn't have that connection, and that certainly it hurts. I think it hurts Stella, and then it also hurt her relationship with her nieces. And I think that's part of the journey in my character is to reestablish, get a family again.
Yeah.
And I think where Stella's character probably understood Carmela the best, because she was an adult. And when you're a kid, sometimes you don't really see your parents. You may idealize them or put them down, and they didn't quite have an adult view of their mom before she passed away. So, but Carmela still has to, even if she was an adult, I think she still has to come to grips with her relationship with her sister, and in healing the relationship with her daughters, I think helps her a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I also think that their mom is just such a heavy topic, I think, for them. When they were younger, I mean, it was, we had this conversation in rehearsals too, but I always imagined that before Lindsay's career took off, they experienced a different version of their mom, and it was just so almost a little, like a really drastic difference. And growing up with that, you just need nurturing, you know. When you're a kid, you really need mom to be mom, you need dad to be dad. And when the momager kind of roles begin to mix, it's hard, especially with just all the pressure that's been going on with the sisters since they were children. Yeah, and I think, of course, just like anyone, your childhood forms so much of how you are as an adult. So there's a lot of trauma, I think, there, but also there's some love, and I think it could lead towards forgiveness there as
Mm.
well. But yeah, I think it affects Lindsay so much, and
Yeah,
Ariana, I'm sure, as well.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it's interesting how the three of us, we all have different relationships to our mother. And I agree with what Katya said, like we obviously experienced a very different side of Carmela growing up. And we've had like extensive conversations about backstory and all that. And I guess in our conversations, I think we agreed that you know, Carmela would have been spending most of her time with Lindsay on the tour. So so it's natural for the child left behind to be missing their mother and to be holding on to that memory, and you know, Ariana sees her mother in just like a better light than Lindsay does, because she was with her day in, day out. She's, you know, was reminded of the bad things over and over again. But you know, when you don't see a person again, it's kind of like being in a toxic relationship in a way, you know, when you're just holding on to the kindness that you remember. And you know, Ariana really looks up to her mother, and all that she did, you know, for her sis, or for, you know, Ariana's sister, career wise, and just, you know, impressed with her mom's career in general, and you know, seeing how she could get her daughter to do so much and go so far. And I think it's very inspiring. So I think, you know, even, you know, to this present day in the play, I think she still sees as her mom as sort of a role model, but I think there's still a lot of trauma that she's blocking out. Yeah, just to keep her the positive memory of her mother alive. Like there's even a line that we literally just did in rehearsal. It's like, oh, I don't remember my mom like that. You know, we're still just
That's, yeah. That's like when there's a divorced parent and the parent that you see less, it's so normal to idealize that parent. Absolutely. Because she was not around her much. That totally makes sense. Yeah. Thank you. Annie Grace, this question is for you. What has surprised you most about playing Kinsley?
Maybe not so much surprise, but just like I'm so astonished by her half glass half full mentality. It's because even imagining myself being in the position she's in this show, I don't know if I'd respond quite as she does. I think she, you know, kind of grieves and goes through her own process of receiving such scary news. But the strength that she has to just keep going and to soak up every minute that she can with the people she loves, and wanting to make sure everyone's set up and taken care of. I think it's just so strong and powerful, and to continue to lead with gratitude the way she does, I think is just so stellar and very special.
Absolutely. Yeah, that I was thinking that word exactly, strong. And we don't talk about that, how when people are that positive, it's actually coming from such a strength of character. That's a beautiful way of putting it. Okay, so Mary, I have a question for you about Tatum, and also anyone can answer this. I think that something that I love about this play is the way it talks about the artistic process and what it's like being an artist, but also like our dreams and how we pursue them and how they change with time. Sometimes one dream we let go of, and when another one comes alive. And so I'm really curious, Mary, what do you think Tatum's like ultimate dream is?
Yeah, you know, she's a woman in her 20s. It's the trenches, as some of us may know. I think she may have an idea of what her dream is right now. I mean, I think she's type A. I think she's a high achiever in that sense. So, you know, she's a journalist and she wants to do well at that right now. But I feel like somewhere down the road, she's going to quit her job and open up a coffee shop or something. She's going to be a small business owner, and they'll do like slam poetry nights, and she's going to be so good at it. But she doesn't know this yet. So that's my long answer.
I love that. I'd watch that TV show.
Me
for
too.
sure. Anthony, start on that spinoff. Anyone else? Is there like a burning thought here about your character, what their dream may be?
Yeah, I'll go. I think, and you had mentioned, which I think is really cool about this play, and I know we all can really relate to, is the struggle of being an artist and how your relationship to art and your creativity is always in kind of an ebb and flow. And so I just think it's really cool that we get to explore what that looks like, especially with Lindsay having had her dreams kind of set from age of 10, and growing up and becoming the woman she is, and figuring out, you know, does that dream still align with who I am, with what I want? And I think, you know, for Kensley, they talk about a bit how she used to be a dancer, and her relationship to dance and the love that she had for it changed. And I think it's cool to see, you know, the option of an artist following what makes her happy. And if dance is in it, then, you know, we'll try something else. I think it's cool that we get to see them explore the many facets of their dreams and those changes, you know.
Yeah. And it's not like you failed because you
Yeah.
changed your mind, you know. It's like life, we change, things change, like that's part of it. Absolutely. Anybody else want to jump in on this one? Yeah, Katya.
Very similar to what Annie Grace said. I think trying to figure, I think Lindsay has been on a journey of a whole debacle of if this is a passion of hers anymore, or if it's just something that she's doing out of obligation. And I think so for so long she spends convincing herself that no, this is what I love, this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And throughout the course of the play, I think we really see her just break those walls down. And honestly, I really think Lindsay kind of just dreams of a softer life where she's more in control of the choices she has. And of course, I think that life involves all of her loved ones, but in the end, I think she just wants to gain a sort of peace over what her life is.
Yeah, I love that soft life. That's beautiful. Mary and Katya, so that the relationship between Tatum and Lindsay, it's been a very long friendship. I'm not sure exactly how long, but you can tell they've been friends for a long time. And at that point, you almost become more like sisters. So I'd love to hear about how you two have approached building the relationship with each other. What it's been like working together.
I feel like I'm going first.
You go first.
Okay. So we did an exercise like at one of the first rehearsals where we were just talking about backstory and trying to find some shared memories that they would have. When did they meet? And I think we decided they like met on the playground in elementary school or something. And that was just really fun to see, like, what is this history? How is that going to inform who they are now, and what the evolution of their relationship has been?
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. So I always think back to that first rehearsal too. It's just really nice to see how the other person views the other in just their eyes. As well as, I'm so blessed I have a Tatum in my life who I've known for so, so long. And I know that with that relationship, it is kind of like sisterly by the time you hit like 3 years, 4 years in. It's kind of at one point you're like, you're just stuck with me. I don't know, like even if we veer off into completely different paths, we're completely different people, there's still that bond there that it's just like, I'm always going to be rooting for you. And I know you'll always be rooting for me no matter where we are. And I think that you really see that with Tatum and Lindsay's relationship. They're not exactly in the same field, but they kind of run in like similar circles, with Tatum being a journalist and Lindsay being always in the press. So, I think that still keeps them a lot in contact. But I think even if they weren't in similar fields at all, I think that would still be a really, really deep relationship, and they would probably talk to each other all the time still.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So we're getting a little close on time. Let me start to wrap up here. A couple last questions. I'd love to hear a little bit about the process with the music for all of our actors who are working with the music, Katya, Alexandra, as well as Annetta. Talk to me a little bit about what the process has been like with the music and how you feel like that's helped develop your characters. Alexandra, would you like to start?
Sure. For me, it's been really fun. I love Rose's songwriting. I feel like it really helps me work with the character of Jessa because through her songwriting, she tells such a story that it helps me work with.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of fun to do because, as I said before, I love to sing, so I like working it into my acting too.
Yeah, it's cool because it's not technically a musical,
Yeah.
but it's kind of like a musical adjacent. Annetta, what about for you?
Yeah, I love how, just story-based too, that music is such a huge part of this household. And that's something that I can also relate to growing up in my household. And it just, it feels like it comes very naturally to them no matter what. And yeah, we're literally about to go into a music rehearsal after this. I'm very excited to work on this new song, but it's nice how Rose has also incorporated like traditional melodies into this, where it kind of grounds it. It holds this foundation over like old lullabies or songs that everyone knows, but then you also have new compositions as well that give it new life as well. So yeah, I think that's really special.
Super cool. Katya.
Yeah, just piggybacking off of what Annetta said, music is just such a huge part of the sisters' world. I honestly don't know if Lindsay remembers a life so much before she became, she started doing this career. And I think it's something that it's really beautiful how incorporated it is into the show in general. You really get to see the kind of, I would say it's kind I don't know if dilemma would be the right word, but it's something that Lindsay has known her whole life, and writing is something that she so deeply loves. And you go with her on a journey of kind of losing that part of yourself too. So it's just kind of seeing like how someone deals with something that they were just so good at one point, and something that you almost put your whole identity into being almost stripped away from you.
Yeah.
So just seeing that, and it's also kind of like a metaphor with what is happening with her dementia as well. Yeah, it's just really interesting to see.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a good segue into my last question. Obviously, there is a lot of about memory in this play. It's one of the big themes, whether it's real memory or created memory. I'd love for each of you to say a little bit about what part memory plays in your own lives and what it means for your characters. I know we don't have a ton of time left, so have to make it kind of short and sweet, but I'd love to hear a little bit about memory from all of you. Annie Grace, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I mean, if there's anything this show has reminded me, it's that memory is such a privilege, and it's so important because it's connected to some of the most important, crazy, lovely, scary moments of our lives, and it's how we track where we've started and where we've gotten. And I think for Kensley, facing the diagnosis that she does, I think she's really just trying to take little pictures of every moment she can, you know?
Yeah. Thank you. Anetta?
Yeah, just kind of piggybacking off of that, like just what does the term memory mean to you? And like really dissecting the word and yeah, like Anna Grace said, memory is such a privilege. And it just, for me personally, it just makes me want to be even more present in the now. And not every glimpse of life you are going to remember.
Yeah.
And with Alzheimer's, those glimpses often resurface that you didn't even, know that or remember that had happened before this disease. Yeah, it's just like a whole new concept of what the word means, and it just has a lot more depth to the definition, after being part of this play. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Susan?
Well, I think I may have more memories than most people in the cast, because I've been around a little longer. Yeah, so I think what I've learned in my life is sometimes, and I think that it informs the play a little too, is you have to face your memories, especially any trauma, but sometimes you just have to forgive things and let them go and live in the present. And I found I feel like that's like my part-time job. I won't tell you how many years I've been in therapy, but it just seems like it's like your life's work. These things happen and you keep remembering them. And there's, how do we remember? Do we keep going over the traumas? Do we keep resenting, which is refeeling? Or, do we keep, remembering? And, what's the positive use of memory as opposed to a way to just keep, and then the regrets, and hitting ourselves over the head, for those things. So it's, I think it's a very, very rich, it's a very rich subject.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Mary?
Yeah, I was thinking something similar to what Annetta and Susan were saying about presence, and memory is lovely and it's great, but I think presence sometimes is more important. You only have the time that you're allotted here with these people in this moment, and it's all too easy to take it for granted sometimes, and then you lose people, and that's something that where presence is necessary to be with those people right now while you can be.
Yeah. Alexandra?
I feel like memory means to me like looking back on important moments or like important people in your life. And I feel like it could be really helpful in the case where you can learn from your memories. Like if you look back at something, you could be like, you could learn from it. And I feel like for Jessa, memories are really important for her because she likes to look more back at the happy memories instead of looking at the bad ones. So she likes to focus more on the good.
Good idea, Jessa. Katya?
Memory is, I mean, kind of just like what everyone's been saying, an accumulation of that. Something that we sort of explored in the first part of this trilogy is, so an early discussion was how a lot of the times when we're remembering something, we're only remembering the last time we remembered that. So it's kind of like what do you do when you feel like you can't trust those memories anymore? And that a lot is shaped by the traumas that you go through in childhood. And with Lindsay, her dementia, and just so desperately wanting to hold on to everything that kind of has created who you are. So I think also, just to copy paste, is presence, staying so present, and gratitude, I think, too, is a huge one. Being grateful for everything that is and was, because I'm sure it's helped along the way.
Yeah. Anthony.
Yeah, I mean, I think the plays and films that have affected me the most have been dealing with memories. So having written Girl with the Red Hair, when I went into Shadows, I was really excited to kind of explore exactly what everyone is talking about how, number one, we access memories, and how we can never be truly sure what the memory is, what's missing from it, or you know, and so I think by then framing it around the story we're telling, very differently, the girl with the red hair, I think memory is seen as being very precious.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, everyone, so much for your extremely thoughtful and profound answers. It's clear you're all brilliant. Thanks so much for spending time with me. I just want to reiterate again that Shadows will be opening December 1st of this year, running until December 16th, I believe, with 18 performances. Correct, Anthony? Yes, at the ART New York Theaters and the Jeffrey and Paula Gural Theater. And tickets are available at shadowstheplay.com. Thank you all so much.